Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you guys for joining us today. My name is Victor Verba, and I am going to be your host for today's session. Today, I'm joined by my good friend and colleague, Mr. Jim Schultens. Jim, how's everything with you today?
It is fabulous, Vic. How about yourself?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. The sun is shining. It's a little cold, but the sun is shining.
Yep.
So, Jim, we got a lot of exciting stuff going on over here this week as we get ready to release Variphy 16.1. That is scheduled to be out next Tuesday. So exciting stuff going on. And in preparation for that, Jim's going to go ahead and walk us through some of the main features of 16.1. And that's going to be MS Teams dashboards and reporting. So let's go ahead and get started with a quick look at our agenda for today. We'll start off with a high-level overview of Variphy and what we do. We will pop into a live demo where Jim's going to go ahead and show us some of the 16.1 MS Teams dashboards. We will pause for some Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, please use the Q&A panel over on the top or bottom of your bar, depending on how your system's configured. But please try to ask those questions in the Q&A panel. After Q&A, we'll reward one lucky attendee with a $50 Amazon gift card. So to get started, let's go ahead and do a quick overview of what we do. Variphy is the preferred analytics and management solution for all of your migration and ongoing collaboration needs. We are deployable either on-prem or as a hosted cloud solution. We provide industry-leading call manager, Cisco Cube, contact center, Zoom phone, WebEx calling, and MS Teams analytics, along with a host of other Cisco call manager-related tools like remote phone control, change management, DNDID management, and much, much more. We are like the cherry on top of your MS Teams sundae. So if you have any questions about any of our other features, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can contact us at support@variphy.com, and we're happy to go ahead and discuss any of the additional features that we have available. One more thing before we do kick things off, we also offer an enhanced consulting service. This is where your team is engaged with a SE member that is dedicated to your account. And you guys are able to work with us one-on-one remotely to provide any additional consulting. That's report building, dashboard configuration, system monitoring assistance. This provides you, again, a dedicated system engineer. We do all the heavy lifting, giving you really stress-free, hands-off experience. For more information on our ECS service or any of our other services, please feel free to reach out to either support or your success team at success@variphy.com, and we'd be glad to speak with you about ECS and see if it's a good fit for your organization. So with all that said, and if you're new to Variphy or MS Teams dashboarding or reporting, grab some popcorn, sit back, and enjoy the show. I'm going to go ahead and pass the ball over to you, Jim.
All right. Thank you, Vic. Now you're making me hungry for lunch or for dessert because you mentioned cherry on top of a sundae and then popcorn. Holy cow.
It's about that time.
You got it. All right. Thank you for the introduction, Vic. And thank you all for joining us again today. As Vic mentioned, we are super excited to be close to releasing version 16.1 with the ability to create dashboards and widgets for MS Teams reporting. So we're gonna just dive right in. So I've got this pre-configured dashboard that I created for this demo, but I'm gonna bring up another browser here. So if you're new to Variphy or have never set up a dashboard, you may see this when you go to the dashboards and widgets module. And no need to fear, we can. This is just telling you have no dashboards. We can go ahead and create a dashboard by clicking on dashboard. That's going to have you put in a name. So I'm just going to do dashboard. And I could save it right then and there. It's going to create this dashboard, or there's some options for sharing here. So I can share with users or groups. If I turn that on, I can select which users I want to share this dashboard to, or I can share it to a group. Groups contain multiple users, so that may be advantageous to you, to your organization, or you can just do it. So if I want to just share this dashboard to Vic, I can just pick him and click on add user. So that's one way of sharing. The other way of sharing is permalink. So what this does, it gives you a URL. It's not going to give me the URL now because I haven't saved this dashboard. But once I save it and allow public access, there will be a URL to copy, and I can give that to just about anybody. The user using that permalink does not have to have a login to verify. So it's great to give to users that don't really need to log in to verify, but it's nice for them to see the stats, and it's going to be displayed on the dashboard. Another great use is if you've got a TV monitor or a big monitor in a common area and you want a bunch of people to see the dashboards and widgets, you can just put that URL on that screen and it will display the dashboard. A great way to share dashboards a couple different ways. So I'm going to minimize this and go back to my page here. And this goes through, we're going to go through this in a second. It kind of goes through all the different ways we can create dashboards or widgets and what those will display for you. But I'm going to switch over to, so if I did create a new dashboard, this is what will show, just basically a dashboard. From here, I can copy that dashboard if I want, or edit it to and then the sharing button. But I'm going to create a widget here and show you how easy it is to create a widget. So the feature is either applications or call analytics. Application is that message or announcement that you saw scrolling on my other dashboard. Allows you to create a message, and I'll show you that in a second. But I'm going to do call analytics. And if you do have multiple platforms, CUCM, Cube, UCCX, you can choose which one you want to use. In this case, since we're talking about Teams, I'm going to go with the Teams tenant. And then which widget type. We've got 6 different widget types to choose from. I'm going to use the call history details for this example. And we'll go through those other ones in a minute here. So I'm going to give it a name, and we're going to pick on Vic here. Calls. And my account is my Teams tenant, and I already chose the call history details. Some, you can change the color, you can change the icon that displays on it, you change the refresh, all the way down to 5 minutes up to 1 hour, and date format, time zone, how many records you want to display. We're going to bump this up to probably 15. Hopefully Vic has about 15 calls recently. And then the sort direction. You can sort it ascending or descending. And then here's where you're picking your detail columns. This is a call history widget. So we can choose details. I'm going to choose call date, time, origination, termination. Let's go for duration. I could do that in seconds or hours, minutes, and seconds. A few other. Want to know the calling party number, calling party username. Let's go with department. And then if I scroll down past all those, I can do the same with called party number, called party name, and department. And then, there's other fields that you can choose here. Going to go with call scenarios. I like this call scenarios field here. That gives a lot of useful information on the actual calls. And then we move on down to our search sets. And for search sets, I can create a search set, or if I've got an existing report that has what I'm looking for instance, Vic's calls. I don't think I have one here. So I'm going to have to create a search set. But if I did have a report that would just show Vic's calls, I can use that report search set.
You better not.
I'm watching you. Vic here. And search criteria, since I'm looking for all his calls, I'm going to use our combo search. If you notice, we've got calling party and a bunch of fields here, calling party number, calling party user, or I can just type in here user, and it'll just go with the user type fields, calling, called, or down below, it's my combo, calling or called party. And then I click on add search criteria, find Vic in the list. And that's all we need to do for that. You can add multiple search criteria. If you're adding multiple, this match all criteria. If you're familiar with our reports, it's the same thing. It's a difference between an and an or statement. So with it on, which it is by default, it makes it an and. So it's got to match both of my search criteria. If it's off, it can be either or. So then going down here, time period, what do I want to look for as far as his report or his calls? Let's do current and previous week. I can exclude certain days of the week if I want. I've seen a lot of people go in here and not realize this says exclude and select all. What that's going to do is give me no results because I'm excluding every day of the week. So just a little tidbit there. We've run into that in the past. I can do it for all day, or I can choose between specific hours. All right, widget info is just basically that, just information if you want. It doesn't display on the widget, just if you want to give us a brief summary of what that is. So we're going to give this a save. And it should show Vic's calls. So there are my call history, all my columns that I chose, and all the information that's contained in each CDR record. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a copy of this widget. I can make a copy here, and it basically copies this. And then what I could do is edit it and just change the name to Jim's calls and go to my search set, get rid of Vic and put in Jim. And just like that, I have two widgets created very fast and displaying the same information, but one for Vic's calls and one for my calls. One other thing I can do with this, I can go in here. I can copy two. So I can copy to another dashboard. So this is my dashboard that we saw initially with all the widgets on. I'm going to copy this widget to that dashboard. And we'll use that in a little bit. So then it puts me at that dashboard. And if I scroll down, it should have put it at the bottom. Yep, Vic's calls at the bottom here. So now we'll go through each of these widgets here just to kind of show you the variety of widgets you can create besides that call history detail. The first one is, like I said, that announcement widget. If we just do a quick edit on this one, this is what you'd come in to see. Give it a title, and you can choose an icon, change your color theme. Message source, you could either just have it for this particular widget or application, which allows other people to use that message so they can put it on their dashboard with that message without having to create their own message. I can have that display statically, or I can scroll it like it was set up to and choose your scroll speed, and that's where your message goes. So that's pretty easy there. It's a handy little tool, especially if you're going to have this displaying on TV. You want multiple people to see, the announcement of the day or whatever you're going to use it for. Scrolling on down, this particular is a call statistics widget, and this is showing call stats for my call queue called new call queue. Very original, I know. And to go through here, like I said, the call statistics is the type that I chose. My refresh interval, all the other good stuff here that we've talked about. And then down here is what stats I want to see on that. So chosen total call count, connected call count, total call duration, and so on. And then same going down to my search set. I named the search set. I picked the call queue. In this particular case, what I did is use an agent role and the new call queue. Sometimes I've noticed that on the call queues, we get multiple records on the same one call, and there's one that has the agent role and the call queue name. So we just want to focus on that for the counts. And then my time period, current and previous month, and I'm going all day. So that's going to show all the stats that I chose and all the pertinent information that I want to see for that call queue. Scrolling on down, you've noticed we've got some graphical widgets. These particular widgets here are call volume by time period. And what I've done, I've created a CUCM widget and a Teams widget. So that shows that we can have multiple widgets in different platforms on the same dashboard. You can mix and match them as you like. With this is a good idea too if you're migrating from Call Manager to Teams and you want to see how your usage is on both platforms. You can see it real quick with two different widgets. This one's doing my CUCM counts, and this one's doing my Teams count. I call it Teams adoption because we want to see if users that are migrated are using their Teams phone. So in my case, I'm not really migrating because the counts are way off. But besides the point. So if we edit this guy, we're call volume by time period, and down here is where I picked my time period. So I'm going to do it by week. And my time frame that I'm running this is current and previous month. So it's going to break it down by each week for the current and previous month. My search set is basically using this call scenario type criteria, and I'm just choosing total calls. So what I did when I created this one, well, I couldn't copy it because it's a different platform, but I just created this basically the same exact way. Just use the different platform when I created that widget, and showing the same things, same call scenario types, total calls. So a great way, like I said, to see your usage on CUCM, and then how many calls you're getting on Teams. And ideally, this should go down, and this should go up. All right, next one, same type of widget, but this is broken down by day for a specific department. This one happens to be tech support, incoming calls. So I have a widget for inbound calls to this tech support department and one for outgoing calls. So very similar to how that previous widget was set up. I'm doing it by day of week as my time period, and search sets called party. So these would be the calls coming into that department. So your inbound calls and incoming calls to that department. And then my outgoing calls, just the opposite, would be search set of calling party department. So that gives you a way to track your departments. If this is a different widget for a sales department, different department, but this one is showing the users in that sales department. I happen to be doing top 5, I believe. Matt's term for this is the leaderboard widget. This is grouping statistics, and I'm grouping by calling or called party name. So that's the user's name, and sort groupings by total call count. So doing my top 5, I can obviously go up on that if I want to see top 10, or if I just want to see top 3, I can change that. And then what I want to see in my statistics. In this case, I'm just concerned with total call count. Got a whole bunch of other statistics you can choose if you want. And then my search set, calling or call department, I combined them using the combo search because I want to see all calls to or from the sales department, and then who in that sales department is taking or placing those calls. Similar, this widget here is a call distribution widget. So how are those calls being distributed to each person? Just a different way of displaying. If you're not a text person, you want to see more graphical, you can see that, and you can hover over to get your counts for each person. So basically the only difference on this guy here is call distribution, and then same calling or called party name. This one I happen to have top 10 in total call count for the same search set. Moving on down, again focusing on departments. I want to see my top 5 departments for overall calls. So which departments are taking the most calls? So a similar call distribution widget with my search set. I chose all my departments that are relevant to me, but I'm just showing the top 5. Notice that I have more than 5 here, but I just want to see the top 5. change that. So current month is my time frame, and that's where I have my display count of 5 and total call count. So kind of a great way to monitor your different departments and whether they're taking the calls that they should be. Utilization widget. So this is a concurrent calls widget. So very easy to do this. If we use that utilization concurrent call activity type widget, and I could show a summary bar and choose what stats I want to see on that: total call count, total duration, total average duration. And then my search set, again, picking on the call scenario types of total calls because I want to see all the calls and which ones are happening at the same time, and for current month. One other thing is the data aggregate interval. So I'm going to break it down by 30-minute increments. I could do 10-minute, 15-minute, or 60-minute. I choose. Let's save this because I did make a change to it by putting on that summary bar at the top. And as soon as that guy loads up, yeah, so 264 calls, the total call duration, average call duration, and you notice you can hover over this to get the times that we had that concurrency. Widget here is back to the call details widget that we showed you earlier, and this one's tracking 911 calls, and then you'll see the one we copied to this. Even though we copied to it, I can still edit it, as well as this one. I'm going to make a copy of this one because, yeah, details are great, but if I have more calls here, I may want to see a total call count of 911. Oops, sorry about that. I'm going to make a copy of this. You want to make a copy, it's going to put it towards the bottom. And then I'm going to edit this one. And I'm going to go from a call history details to a call statistics. And which call statistics, I'm just going to do total call count. My search set will stay the same. In this particular case, I'm looking for multiple variations of 911 being dialed. If I save that, and I can shrink it because there's not much information on that. I can move these widgets around. Scroll up a little bit so I can put this one close to the other 911. I can shrink this one with the calls and put it next to this. So a lot of flexibility with these widgets and moving around and sizing them up. One other thing with the sizing, this is something we added recently to allow you to move these columns over to make it fit better, and you want to maybe make everything show up on the screen so you don't have to scroll left and right. And besides that, we can do the appearance on this widget, and you can change your font size, make it bigger. And we can also change your vertical spacing, kind of give you a more lean look there. So lots of different variations you can do to these widgets. Showed you copy. We can copy these. Makes it easier for creating multiple widgets. And then I can take this whole dashboard and copy this dashboard and give it a different name if I like, but then you'll notice once I do that, it copies it. I noticed this was a little bit slow earlier when I was preparing for this, but we'll get through it, I hope. And I'm just gonna, for sake of time, and then we can, we do limit or like to limit the number of widgets you can have. We don't want to have 30, 40 widgets on a dashboard. So that's, you can create multiple dashboards, as many dashboards as you want, and have multiple widgets on those. And if you go into System Application Settings and scroll down here, there is a section for Dashboard widget settings. Here I've got my max widget allowed per dashboard is 15. The max you can set is 25. And then there's some widget cache settings. We've got as a default is 2 hours. So if you've got a daily widget, it's going to cache anything but the previous 2 hours. That allows the widgets to load a little bit quicker because a lot of that information is in cache. Yeah, a lot of great things here with these dashboards and widgets, a lot of flexibility. And that's all I have, Vic. Did we have any questions coming in?
All right. Awesome stuff, Jim. Like I said, that is the cherry on top. We did have a few questions come in directly. So let me go ahead and pull those out here. First one, and I think you kind of answered this a little bit, and I think this was maybe more of a comment than a question. I can have my call manager and Teams info on the same dashboard.
Yes, you can.
Awesome stuff. Another one that we had is, can you have a dashboard showing queue information, like number of calls coming in, who's answering them, etc.?
Yeah, that one dash or widget I was showing, my lab seems to be slow now, did show that queue, how many calls were coming in. We can do that as a just distribution widget to show, if you remember that one I had on there showing the different members of the department. You can do something similar with the queue to show who's answering those calls.
Excellent. And then the last question, and again, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to chat me up directly or go ahead and pop a question into the QA panel. The last question I have so far was that concurrent widget. Can you do that for a queue to see how many of my agents are on the phone at the same time throughout the day?
I believe you can. I haven't done it personally myself because obviously we're a test lab, show much information, but I do believe we can do that based on a queue. Set your search set to that queue.
Yep, absolutely, you definitely can. So that's a nice way to utilize that. Kind of thinking outside of the box from what concurrency was originally designed for. And one last question came in for MS Teams call queues. Can you get stats for individual users?
Yeah, that would kind of the same question that we had earlier. You can set up a widget to show the users in the queue and show how many calls they have taken and so forth.
Yep. So yeah, to answer that, I think it would look very similar to the sales department one that you have right there, but that would be built around your queue. So you would be able to see like total calls, answered calls, how many calls rang on them, things like that. So to answer that question. All right. So if you guys, again, have any other questions in the next few minutes, feel free to pop them in the chat panel. I'm more than happy to answer those. But Jim, at this point, I don't see any other questions. So I'm going to steal the ball back from you here, and let's wrap this guy up. And again, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Again, awesome job as always, Jim. Fantastic presentation. Please make sure you join us next week. We're going to talk a little bit about Zoom reporting enhancements coming out with version 16.1. It has to do with a little bit of the new API available for Zoom. So you can join our friends John Delane and Matt Sykes. And if you have some Zoom phones out there, maybe you're running in a hybrid environment, maybe worth checking out to see if that's some enhancements in there are going to be able to help you. But again, if there are no other questions, I want to thank you guys for joining us this week. And again, Terry, we'll reach out to you. Congratulations on that $50 Amazon gift card. Have a great rest of your week, all.
Thanks, all.